Welcome to Paperweights, the podcast where two self-proclaimed gym rats and shooting enthusiasts delve into the world of literature with a sprinkle of humor. Although their biceps could crush a walnut, don't let that intimidate you. They also have a nerdy side. Mike and Brandon have a voracious appetite for reading, particularly in the fantasy genre, and they want to share their passion with you. So grab your protein shake and your favorite novel and join us for a humorous and insightful journey into the world of books with Paperweights.
Welcome back to another episode of the Paperweights. I'm your host, Brandon.
And Justin.
And today, Justin, is our 99th episode.
Huzzah.
Huzzah! So, we will be doing something special for the 100th episode. There's going to be a few different recordings that will be pieced together. We'll have a few different people. We'll have some special guest appearances that have been on the podcast before, to give them a chance to come back on and have some fun with it. We will be doing a giveaway. It'll be based on it'll be on Instagram. Our podcast has an Instagram page that I don't post often to, but it's at the.paperweights. So if you do listen to this podcast, make sure you go follow there, so that you can get in on the giveaway. I believe we are going to give away a leather-bound Brandon Sanderson book. Which one it is, I haven't decided yet, but the details will be on the Instagram page. So make sure you're following us over there for details on how to enter to win. But speaking of that, and other things, we are sponsored by Mudcat Whiskers, which is a Louisiana beard care product company, and I use them daily. I use a combination of the beard wash, beard conditioner, and beard balm. And whenever I do go out or want people, if I think people are going to be having their nose near my beard for whatever weird reasons that may be, I will put some beard oil in. Gives it a little shine and, makes it smell nice. And they also have candles, and he is going to be launching his cologne line in a couple months over the summer. So you can visit his website at www.mudcatwhiskers.com and make sure you use code Paperweights at checkout. That'll save you 15%. And, you support him. He supports us. We support him. You support us. We support you. We give you what you want. So
the win-win-win.
Yeah, everybody gets in on it. So also, we usually do this at the end, but if you haven't already, because I know most people probably don't make it to the end of all the episodes, but if you haven't already, do us a favor and like, follow, subscribe, share, leave a rating or review wherever you can. Any combination of those things, every little bit helps to increase visibility and gets more people like you aware of this podcast, so that, bigger following, the more likely we are to continue doing this thing that we just like to do for fun. And then y'all can give us suggestions for books that y'all really want somebody else to read and discuss and theorize and see our reactions and quietly make fun of us for coming up with wrong predictions. Those things are fun. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And now we get into the meat of it. Today, we are going to be discussing Brandon Sanderson's The Emperor's Soul, which is a Cosmere novella. And this right here is like the European Union or UK hardback little version of it.
Looks cool.
Yeah. I wanted, there was, he did have an American version or US version, I couldn't find it, but it had a picture of Shy with some stamps on it. And so
Yeah,
couldn't find that. Didn't buy it when it came out.
I find that typically the foreign books have the cooler covers. You
They
just look
do.
up foreign covers, yeah.
And I don't know if that's simply because they really do have the cooler ones, or if we're just like, when they market books for Americans, they're like, okay, this is the typical American style, and so that's what we get.
Yeah.
Versus, the other countries, they're going to have their own flair on it, and so it's a novel look. Um,
I don't know. Oh, they're
Focus
always
on there,
cooler.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So. All right, Justin, you want to go ahead and we're going to give a brief summary. We're not going to go chapter by chapter. No real need to it because some of these chapters are just like, I mean, all of it, the book itself is like 120 pages
Yeah.
total. And some of these chapters are just like a little bit happens, a little bit here. So,
Yeah. So I'll give a brief thing and we can talk about it. So basically, we're following Shay, and she's a forager, which is a new type of magic system where she can basically manipulate the spiritual realm of objects and people to change them in the physical realm. That's what it seems like, at least. Um,
kind
and
of, kind of like soul casting.
Yeah, kind of like soul casting. And she's currently captured because what she does is illegal, and she was in the palace, uh, stealing stuff and replacing artwork with forgeries and stuff that she likes to do. And basically, we find out that the emperor has been attacked. His wife was killed, and he was left kind of brain dead. And there's like visor advisor people that are in charge, and if it comes out that he's dead, they're going to lose power because they're going to elect a new emperor with a different house because there's these it gets into like some sorry house politics, cat appearance.
There's like
um
80 factions or 80
yeah,
houses in this
in
land.
the Rose Empire,
Yeah.
which I don't remember. Elantris, it is in the Elantris world.
Yeah, it's
Is
on a different continent. So like there were some nods to some things from Elantris, but yeah.
Yeah. So she basically agrees to help them out. Her basic plan is basically to create the Emperor's soul by forging basically his entire personality and memories and all this stuff. That's the basic plot of the thing. So a lot of the book is her learning about the Emperor and testing out different stamps because that's how they like do the magic. They like stamp it and it like zaps in the memories and all that stuff. With the dude called Gotoma, something like that.
Altona.
Yeah, Gatona, yeah. He's like a senior advisor that's kind of like helping her out, and she ends up forming a bond with them. She's thinking about escaping a lot. We learn that she has essence stamps of her own that can like change her personality and stuff. Really reminded me of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I haven't watched that
Oh, you
movie.
haven't watched that? Oh, you should see that movie. Basically, it's like a multiverse movie, but uh she can basically use as a device to go into different timelines where like when she was like a kung fu master and like it changes her and she's able to do that in the real world. It's a very good movie. You should watch it. But yeah, it was fun. So yeah, a lot of it's doing that. She's thinking of escaping. There's this like creepy necromancer guy that uses blood magic to keep her locked away, which is cool. Um, I don't know. Were they in Elantris? The blood mages?
No, the blood sealers,
Yeah,
whatever. No, these are people that are on the other,
other
like
continent.
in
Okay.
this empire and not.
Yeah, I knew. I remember there was an evil empire. I didn't know if they were part of that in Elantris.
No, not these. So like the priest, Hrathen or whatever,
Yeah.
or Gjorn of the Shu Dareth religion or whatever, who shows up in Elantris to convert the city of, um, what was the city? Fell, I think, or
Yeah, something like that.
Fell. Yeah. So Fell is real close to Elantris. So he was sent to convert them to this other religion or kill them all.
Yeah.
Um, and the Elantrians were heretics, and the city of Elantris was blasphemous and all this stuff. But at the end of this novella, the blood red armor character is a nod, is a Gjorn. Um,
Yeah.
and so it was kind of like a tie-in there. But as far as anything else, I haven't,
Yeah.
nothing obvious showed up.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if the like necromancer was from Elantris or not, because it's been a while. I need to reread that sometime when I have the time, which will be never. Anyway, so she's basically learning about the king and like learning about his ambitions, about how he wanted to change stuff, but then got kind of ground down the bureaucracy and stuff like that. And she's like learning. She like does a bunch of stuff to her room and showing off the magic. The magic's really cool. Um, and basically it culminates where this other rival advisor wants her to basically put a backdoor, basically do Inception on the Emperor so she can control him. And she decides not to, but it's all this push and pull of like, I'm going to get killed before I finish. And eventually she finishes it and then escapes in a cool like action scene. And it turns out it worked. The Emperor is now alive and kind of has all of his faculties, and we find out that she's like changed him and made him more kind of idealistic and actionable. Like he's actually going to do the changes he wanted to do but never did. So she kind of improved him, and then she like runs away. That's kind of the basic story.
Yeah, she also, I mean, she left the entire book
Oh
um,
yeah,
with
the dude.
Galtona, and he read it, and come to find out she actually did leave a back door in. He is the only one that knows, and he burned the book. Um, and then, of course, at the end, when she ran off, she stamped herself with that one essence mark, which the essence marks are like the ultimate
Yeah.
forging, because it's not just like changing an object, it's changing the person. And so the essence mark she actually used on herself basically erased all of her memory of forging and everything.
I
So
don't think did she. I don't think she used that one. She used the
she used the survivalist one, huh?
yeah. That's not the
That,
one.
that's not the other. That's not the one
Nah,
that erased everything. Huh.
I don't. I no. I don't. Yeah, because there was a survivalist one, there was the fighting one, there was like the beggar one, and then there was like the one she couldn't use. She was not ready. The like farmer one.
Oh yeah, it was the farmer one that was
Yeah,
gonna rewrite everything. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so she did use the fighting one when
yeah,
she was fighting against Zoo.
yeah.
Um,
And
and
she kicked his ass.
she used another one too.
She used like all the ones. She used the beggar one to basically like escape the city because it turned her into like an old crone type thing. And then as she escaped, she used the survival one to go into the woods for like 8 months or whatever and lay low. And that's kind of where her story lives.
Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially the story. One piece that I didn't hear you mention was the fact that like when she was first hired, like she started to think, oh yeah, I'm not really gonna do this for them. But the more like Galtona visited her and the more she was like started to do it, she started to have that hubris and pride of like, man, can I really do this? Like, if I could do this, that would be like awesome. That would be like the ultimate art.
Yeah,
And
it,
so it drove her to
yeah, because
actually do it.
there's a lot of stuff where like uh Gatona is like criticizing her for like and wanting her to be like a true artist, but she's like uh she's like the forgeries are my art. There's like a whole thing with like the painting that she replaced because they're like both forgeries and stuff like that. But eventually like he at the end is like, oh yeah, she was a true artist by like doing this and making it improving upon the original type thing with the Emperor and all that.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Yeah, this magic system's cool. I would read a book with her in it or
Yeah.
something like it.
Like overall, like I think this
It's
is
a
my
little OP,
favorite
but
novella. And I'll wait till the end of the podcast to um
you're
discuss my like I said at the end of the Wind and Truth, discuss my predictions for Stormlight
yeah,
6 through 10. So that way y'all don't have to like try to skip ahead of the spoiler. I'm gonna put
yeah,
it at the end. So we're gonna try to just keep all the talk to this novella and not necessarily Cosmere wide,
yeah.
except for one character, which is Wit or
Uh,
Hoyd, who in this book is the Imperial Fool.
I totally missed that.
Yeah. Did you read the deleted prologue?
Uh, I don't know.
Because if you didn't, it's fine. Um,
Has it been? I read. If
it
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 wasn't in
wasn't in
this
the
book,
book. I sent you.
oh, I
It's
forgot
actually
about
on
that.
Brandon Sanderson's website.
That's right. I was like, I'm gonna read that later and totally forgot about it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's essentially the same. It's the same thing, except so in the actual book, the prologue that was in there is from the point of view of Galtona. This deleted prologue was from the point of view of Shy, but it kind of broke and it gave a little more information. But um, yeah, so essentially, like I forgot my train of thought here. But the Imperial Fool is Hoyd Wit, who's a world hopper. If you've read Stormlight Archives, you're very familiar with him. Um, the magic system of stamping does show up in Era 2 of Mistborn, so you do get to see it again. I'm not going to go any further than it appears. Um, and oh yeah, what I was going to say is it's funny. So Shy was put in prison and condemned to death for stealing, and so she was actually going to steal the Moon Scepter, which is like the Emperor's scepter.
Yeah,
And so that's why she was there. But, or maybe, no, I think the reason why she was there was to swap out the painting because she was hired by the artist of the painting to retrieve his painting because he didn't want it stuck up there. And then he didn't want the painting. So at his behest, she actually burned the real painting and had two uh, forgeries, one hanging in the palace and then one in her house.
yeah,
And they thought the one in her house, they thought she didn't swap it out. She's like, oh, the one in her house is a forgery. And the one over there, that's a real one, but they were both forgeries, which is funny. Um, but while she was there, she actually grabbed the moon scepter. And so, like in the deleted prologue, we find out, and I don't know how much of it is actually truly canon. But Brandon Sanderson said that something like this would definitely have happened. Uh, the Imperial Fool um, took the scepter from her, and he was the one that turned her in. So I think in the book it actually states that he was the reason why she got caught.
she says that her like employer turned around.
Yes. So
So Wit employed her.
yes.
Wow.
Um, so which means that she would have been there for the scepter. So now I'm confused because
Yeah,
two things happen. Like we know in the book she was hired to replace the painting. Like she tells Galtona that.
yeah. From what I remember and understand, is like the painting was a secondary objective, and the Moon Scepter was what she was hired for.
Okay.
and she was
It-
doing both.
that's what I thought. That's what I said at the beginning. So
Yeah,
excuse my confusion, but yeah. So she was there for the scepter.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's I don't know. I don't know if I don't feel like Wit would turn her in unless he like wanted her to like do the Emperor Soul thing. It's like a 4D chess move. I guess that could work.
I mean, maybe he knew about that, but I think I think she got caught the day the Emperor was attacked.
I think it was yeah, maybe something like that.
And so,
He hadn't been attacked long, if not.
right, I don't think she knew the Emperor was attacked at the time she was arrested.
Yeah, she didn't. Nobody but the little inner circle did.
So yeah, I think Wit wanted the scepter for something just because Wit wants a whole lot of things. Um, but yeah, we're not going to go into Wit much more than.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, the book doesn't really describe the scepter if it has magic powers or whatever. So I mean, yeah, I'll say I think it's probably a good thing it was deleted. I don't think it needed this extra complication. I think it flows really nicely as it is. So I mean, it's interesting, but I think it's right to have not been in there and complicate this story a little bit more than it needs to. I will say it's also interesting that the Rose Empire, we'll see if that ever returns. They don't believe in like the cognitive spiritual realm stuff. But her forger people do. I don't know if they're like a race or they're like they were folded into the empire. That they didn't really get into the politics that much, but I thought that was interesting.
yeah, I missed that other than the fact that they thought forging was blasphemous.
Yeah, she starts talking about like you need to like think of the chair has thoughts and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, that's preposterous. And then he starts kind of Katona starts like learning about it as he starts learning about the stamping and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, I guess that is like my like I think it is like religious blasphemy that there's other
So,
gods.
do you think it's that they refuse to believe in it or that they haven't been informed of it? Like they haven't learned and know that it's a thing.
I think it's both because he starts to learn about it, but I think that's why forging is considered blasphemy. It's because like back in the day, somebody suppressed the knowledge of it, but that's just kind of conjecture. Um, but yeah, I wasn't. They didn't really go into that much. So I was a little confused on if her people are like they're the ones that have the ability to forge, and like that's or like if it's like a learned skill, or it seems a little weird that part of it.
Yeah, I don't think he fully explained
Yeah,
how you gain that ability to do so.
yeah,
So, at least not in here. And I don't remember much of what was existing in the other
yeah.
thing.
It makes sense. You wouldn't want to define it until you would like put it in a book, probably in like Elantris 2 or something. Um, but yeah, trying to think what else was
Oh,
fun.
the thing. So I was reading it here. So words of Sanderson here said, in terms of canonicity, you will notice that various details in the above scene, the deleted prologue, contradict the details of Shy's imprisonment in the final version of the novella. However, he considers a conversation between Shay and the Fool very much like the one presented in this deleted scene to be part of official continuity. So,
I'm sorry, I just if it's not in the book, it never happened. You can't just like errata your book unless you put out a new version of your book. Like the words of Brandon shit. I'm sorry, it's dumb. It,
yeah.
it just is. Like you can't just be like, hey guys, read a blog and then figure out that this conversation happens. Like, no, put it in your book or it didn't. Like, I'm sorry.
I
That's
I can agree with you on that because, like, as much as I like the Cosmere and I go look up something,
Yeah.
some things that people mention, I'm like, where the hell, where did you get that from?
Like,
I've read all the words
yeah.
in all the books, and I don't know that word. I don't know this theory. I don't know these things. Like people saying, "Oh, this event happened in this
Hold on
year."
one second.
All right, sorry about
Yeah.
that. We are
Yeah.
back. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is we're talking about the errata and stuff and like words of Brandon. Yeah, there's like reading Coppermine and Reddit threads and theories where people are talking. It's like, oh, this event happened in year such and such and such. I'm like, where are you getting that information from? Like, yes, it's cool and it helps me expand, but it's like not in the books. There's nowhere in the Stormlight archives does it say this is year such and such, I don't think. Like,
Yeah.
they'll mention days or months names, but like it means nothing because they don't like have a chapter that lays out like, hey, these are the 10 months and the names of them, and it goes in this order. And like,
Yeah.
he doesn't expand on that in the novel. And, maybe it's not necessary, but if people were going to discuss it in forums at that detail, it's it's weird.
Well, he could put all that stuff in like the glossaries and stuff because he already has the glossaries at the end of the books, so he could do that. Um,
True.
but yeah, like I think it's cool and like he's answering questions and stuff. I'm just not like I'm not gonna like look up like a timestamped podcast to get an answer to a question or take that as like gospel. Like I understand like the internet's cool and like getting all the research and stuff, but yeah, I'm already having to read novellas and like essays and actual books. It's like that's kind of my limit. Like I won't like deleted scenes. I'm like, I mean it's cool, but I'm not gonna take it as canon. But he can do whatever he wants. It's kind of my opinion.
I mean that's the fun of creating something, right?
Yeah,
And I mean, people consume content or artwork, if you will, how they want to. So
yeah, and like more power to him. It's just like if a words of Brandon like you need to read that to like understand something in a book that is bad. So I'm sure he hasn't done that, so it doesn't really matter. Like do what you want. But yeah,
that would be very bad if it's like, hey, I'm not going to put this in a book, but you need to understand that this happened. Okay,
yeah,
put it somewhere.
yeah.
Like,
Which he's a good author, so he wouldn't do that. He's borderline a little bit sometimes with his like Cosmere references. I wish he would just do the thing in a lot of books, like book two would have like like three sentences of like, hey, remember book one? This is what happened in it. I wish he would do that a little bit more with some of his Cosmere references and like Stormlight and stuff. Um, just because it'd be like, like well, I'm not gonna when a magic system shows up, it'd be like, oh, the rings on her fingers seems interesting or something. But oh yes, that. But like, I don't know, you could do way better than that. But yeah, it's kind of a little tangent from this book or this novella. I really liked it. I thought it was good.
so less subtlety whenever a magic system not native to the book or the world you're in shows up. Is it what you're saying?
Yes, I've thought about like having like how like the chapter titles have like the little like things on them. If you had like an emblem and be like, oh, okay, something from Scadrial's in this chapter, or something from Warbreakers in this chapter, then you'd be like, all right, I guess I need to instead of just like random, things happening. Okay, or just do the. I think you could do it in a way where like you could have the reveal and then like be like, oh yeah, the Warbreaker stuff. But it's I think you could do it and not be a really annoying. But because like authors do it all the time with like and then he he remembered that it blah 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 happened in book one. You're like, when you read them back to back, you're like, yeah, I can skip over this paragraph because that's what. Um, so yeah, I think he could do it a little bit better. Just to remind you that so you don't feel like you're missing something because sometimes you're like, wait, that's it. Oh wait, no, that's from Warbreaker. Okay.
Yeah,
But,
I get it. Yeah.
but yeah, that's
I
specifically
feel that way too, because when I'm rereading the Cosmere, I'm reading it, I'm like, man, I sure hope I don't miss any connections to other books. But whenever I do catch something, it is the aha, I feel proud of myself kind of moment. Um,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
mean that's kind of selfish, but
And like I don't need it for like that one random character from another thing. But if it's something you're supposed to know, right? Like let's say if it's like random thing that didn't happen. Let's say like Vin shows up in like uh thing. And you're like, "Oh, like you should be like, "Oh, go read Mistborn to get this," right? Because like comics have that all the time. It's like they like, do like a crossover, they come back to another thing. It's like see comic book 112 of the Flash to get the thing. You're like, okay, cool. Like, I think that would help. Like footnotes, like footnotes are fine. Do like something that
yeah, I
maybe
like that. I like the idea of footnotes.
yeah,
I don't know if we had this conversation
we might have.
on a podcast before, but you and I have talked about it before, and I do like that idea of having footnotes so that you can go, just put a number or whatever, and then
Yeah,
have it
go
in the back of a
reference in the
book.
back, so you don't
And
have to do
it
it
could be it could even be that in-world thing, like the
of
character
that.
Naj. It'd be
Mm,
like he puts that there, and then in the back he talks about the event because he was there a whole lot doing things and be like, oh yeah, I was surprised that Vin showed up in
yeah, yeah,
Tress of
that
the Emerald Sea. And it's like,
yeah,
that
that would
was an
be
unexpected thing. And by the way, that didn't happen, so don't
yeah.
worry about being spoiled on that. Um,
See, that would be even cooler because then you have like this, and then it justifies the narration of like the uh all like the illustrations have the
in the inserts, yeah.
yeah, and you could like maybe more personalize this character that exists that we know of the name of for some novella or some words of brand new thing. But yeah, I think that would work and it would be cool. Um, and it would make it so you're like, even if you didn't look it up because it would be voluntary, like go and look at the footnotes, it'd be like, all right, I'm not missing something. It's a thing I recognize was weird, and I can either look it up or not, and I think it'd be cool.
It would also allow you to know where it came from without you looking it up and getting spoiled.
It's spoiled, yes.
So I like that idea.
Yeah. Somebody
Uh,
should send this to Brandon.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, as far as this book, I really like this novella. Um, I read it when it first came out, and I can tell you, I didn't like. I read it and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I didn't have a super positive opinion of it, and I think it's because when it came out, and I was like, oh, it's set in the world of Elantris. All right, cool. I recently read Elantris. I want to see some effects of after what happened. And literally nothing came in connection with it. I was like, it might as well just be a completely different planet, completely different thing, because I didn't get a connection. Like it wasn't what I wanted. It was like if you go to drink, like if you think you have Sprite in your cup and you go to drink it and it's water, you go, what the hell? Like your brain is ready for Sprite and you get water. You'll drink water all day, but if you think it's Sprite and you get water, then you're going to be like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
expectations color a lot of stuff. That's why I was like, um, you know, not to get back in the wind of truth, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but proper expectations would have made that book I think way better than what it turned out to be. Even though I like some parts of it, but yeah, like I understand that, and like yeah, I will say going from big ass Stormlight to like these novellas, I, I think he excels with some restraints. Um, it's not long-winded. It moves really fast. It has the 100-day time limit, so you get a lot of like plot movement, and it just kind of ends, and it's really satisfying. So, uh, it was fun.
So
Uh,
we see all right. Small spoiler, skip ahead 5 seconds. We see that he can, well, maybe more than 5 seconds now. Hey, all right, skip ahead 30 seconds. So we see that he can work well within a time frame. Like in here, it was 100 days. When in truth, there was 10 days. So he could do it,
yeah,
but you know, it's certain. I don't know. It worked better in here.
yeah. Well, also like it wasn't like we had 100 mini chapters of what happened in day 25 or whatever. I don't think the time limit was wrong on Wind of Truth. I'm not gonna give any spoilers if you're listening. It was more the like we have to do each day, and not all days have important stuff in it, right? It's kind of like 20. If you watch the show 24, they start padding some stuff like his wife gets amnesia, and like they're like, man, we have 24 hours of television to kill. We need to like put some stuff in it. I love 24, but there's some dumb plot lines. But that was the
They
problem with
also
Wind of
move
Truth.
around the country in areas in unbelievable fashion.
Yes, they do. But yeah, that was like if it was like you know we had like 10 days and then it could like move and like oh we did some stuff in day 3 or whatever, but like it was like more of a process and didn't have to drag out each day, I think it would have been better. And if it was like 300 page shorter, that's besides the point. But I think it was the time limit wasn't the problem with Wind and Truth. It was the we have to do 10 sections on each day do something because you're
I,
inevitably going to have like boring days because you can't set it up correctly. But yeah, this book was good. Um, I it gets me a little bit more excited for like I guess Era to Elantris or Book to Elantris, wherever that is. I don't know if she's upping the like the time scale of it or whatever. Um, but
yeah, I mean, I think this is I think
because
this is after. I feel like it's after um the events of Elantris.
like she seems like a character you would bring back, not as a main character or anything, but like would show up
Yeah,
and be cool.
somebody from here needs to show up.
Yeah. Well, it'd only really be her. I guess he could do the Emperor. I mean, that would be a cool series if it was like the Emperor trying to like change the Rose Empire and do all this stuff. Then like he learns he's basically a Gola from Dune. He's like, oh my God, freaking out.
Yeah. I could see interactions between Emperor Ashravan and like the Elantrians.
Yeah.
Um Obviously, I feel like he has to explore more of of the world in subsequent Elantris books,
Yeah, I could see
not
that. Yeah.
just keep it to um
The city.
yeah. I mean, we visited three cities and then a fourth city was mentioned, and that's where the Gjorn came from, Hrathen. Um, so he came from there. Then we had Teod, which was where the princess was from. Um, I think uh, Kai is the name of the city. Kai, I think. Um, I could be completely wrong, but Kai is a city that they main king and prince were from, and then Elantris is the dead city right next to it. Um, that's not a spoiler because you find that out in literally the
Like
first
first page.
chapter of the
Yeah.
book. Um, so the mystery of that is figuring out what the fuck happened. So that's fun. Uh, but yeah, I can see it exploring more. And
Yeah.
I again, it's not in the books, but apparently, oh no, it is. I think it is in the book in the essay in Arcanum Unbounded where it talks about the planet size being slightly larger than other planets in the Cosmere, and having a whole lot more kingdoms and empires in it. So it's a huge world. Um, and you don't quite get the sense of that when reading Elantris, and definitely not in Emperor's Soul.
Yeah. It makes sense because it was his first book. You wouldn't want to make a giant world. I will say, it'd be cool to expand upon the like the necromancer faction, which we didn't really touch too much on. There's like this blood mage. He summons like zombies at the end to like fight her or whatever.
Yeah, the Blood
Um,
Sealers are pretty cool.
yeah. So like a main character that's a good blood mage would be cool. Um, yeah. And the spear guys, they seem to have some sort of magic. Like her guards, they seem to have some magic, but didn't really get into it. Or they were just like warriors. I couldn't really tell.
Um, yeah, I don't know because I know. So I know in Elantris there were some orders of priests. There's different orders of priests, and some of them have some type of powers. Um, but they don't. The book doesn't really go into the details of them.
Yeah.
So it could be that any of those things or related to it, something that wasn't shown, but like a hey, there's more that exists type uh feeling with those guards. Um, but yeah, I would like to see um Blood Sealers come back. Um,
Yeah.
that is one of the cool things there. And he seemed tormented, right? He seemed like he was almost in a similar situation that Shay was, where it's like, hey, do this thing for us, or what you do is disgusting and blasphemous and horrendous to most everybody, but we need you to do it for us. Because she was trying to write those letters, understand him, and go, oh, he has a family at home, and such, and there's a girl he loves, um, and that's she used that against him to get herself out, right? Um, so that would be fun to explore.
Yeah, I will say like reading Elantris, and again it's been a while, but at the end I was like, all right, like I don't need another book in Elantris. I kind of don't also need a book in Elantris. I like a Rose Empire bigger scope book. So this this has successfully, got me more interested in Elantris, which I wasn't really before. So good old Brandon.
Me or Sanderson?
Both. Because
Both, yeah.
I wouldn't have read it without you.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you, most of these things are fun. If you don't care to go more into Cosmere, then you're going to have a harder time being convinced to read them. This one, as far as all the novellas go, this one is by far the best. Um, and if somebody hasn't read any Brandon Sanderson and they didn't want to commit a whole lot of time to it and not be lost on Cosmere connections, this is like an excellent starting point.
Yeah, it's
And then, go from there because you're not getting spoiled on anything. Um, it's pretty self-contained. Uh, and it's just good. Some of his better writing. This one won an award, I believe. Um, I want to say it was the Hugo Award. Um, let's see. It won, yeah, the 2013 Hugo Award for Best Novella. Um, so yeah, that's fun. Looking at the summaries, one of the things I had forgotten about was uh, Shay had actually talked to Galtona about putting a grandfatherly figure into her stamp that rewrote herself as a farmer or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and she revealed to Galtona that she actually did change her essence mark to have that grandfather figure, so she could remember him. Even though it wasn't like him, but it was like, oh, hey, there was a grandfather figure that had a big impact on my life.
Yeah, the kind of underlying meta narrative is their bond, and then it gets, all the way through where he starts off thinking she's just a thief and a forger, and like she could be so much better because she only forges, she doesn't create for herself. And at the end, he sees her work in the book and like acknowledges that she's a great artist and everything, and it's fun.
And
It's fun.
she also learns, I think, really learns how to connect to people more. Um, Obviously, because she wasn't sure if she could rewrite anybody's soul at the beginning, right? So her forging connects for the forging, she has to connect with the thing and understand it fully, which is easier to do with inanimate objects. Um, and so you see that growth overall. She starts to understand the emperor, like she really understands the emperor through Galtona, but she has to understand Galtona to understand the emperor. So um, he was he was absolutely necessary for her to be able to uh, forge the emperor's soul.
Yeah, yeah. Rita's curious what you think. Do you think that this was a exercise to write like a Shalon? Because they're very similar, like artists, a bunch of deception and stuff. And this came out, way before Way of Kings and stuff, I'm pretty sure. So I
Uh,
wonder if he kind of used this as kind of like a prototype to figure out how to write Shalon a little bit.
no, Way of Kings came out in 2010. This came out in 2012.
Oh, really? I thought this was way earlier.
Words of Radiance came out in 2014. So, well, I mean, Words of Radiance is still kind of Shallan's book. So maybe he did it as an exercise to get more of her. Because
Yeah,
yeah, we're not going to just can't discuss that, but I did have a thought. I can tell you later off
yeah,
air. Um, but yeah, maybe he did want to kind of um get more in a habit of it, of writing of a female artist style.
yeah.
I could see that.
Just a thought I had. But yeah, that's kind of Emperor's Soul. If you want to go to the spoilers section now for Cosmere shit, you can.
Yeah. So,
For
uh,
predictions.
yeah. So, if you've got this far and you haven't read Stormlight all the way to Wind and Truth, the end of Wind and Truth, uh, go ahead and stop here. I don't want to spoil it for you. Um, so with that, last time I was going to wait for my predictions on Stormlight 6 through 10 for our discussion on the Emperor's Soul. Um, so I could see soul stamping and forging coming into um, Roshar and maybe being used on the Blackthorn, the the sprint of the Blackthorn to you know change him so that he's not um, evil anymore. Have that understanding of Dalinar. and it would actually be a resurrection of Dalinar. He would actually, if he were to do that, he would effectively have given Dalinar the same redemption arc twice, or the
Sure.
the Blackthorn, a redemption arc twice. Um,
Yeah.
different methods, but
Yeah, because I mean, he does have like a book with all of his thoughts written down that you would need to do it. What I initially thought when you're reading it is uh about Gav, the body of the child, because we have this like lifeless kind of
well, you could
thing.
do that too. You could
Yeah,
imprint Gavinor, but you don't have enough about Gavinor.
yeah,
Or you can imprint Elokar onto that lifeless body that was Gavinor,
yeah. Like
and then
I don't think that's gonna happen. I think your thing is way more plausible. If he didn't want to have like evil Dalinar, um, which and you need you need if Shay came back for that or something, that'd be cool. Like maybe like Risen goes through space or whatever and gets her or something. I don't know. Just think out hand, but that would be cool. I mean, it'd be a little cop outy that like you don't kill anybody. Like you killed. I mean, you already kind of did it because you killed Dalinar and like, hey, we have the Blackthorn or whatever, which is kind of like whatever. So at least you would do that, which I could do that. Do you think
I could see it happening.
I
Whether or not I believe it is going to happen, I don't know. But I think soul stamping makes an appearance.
I could
And
see it.
that seems like right now, that seems like a high probability that it could happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's a better way to get rid of the Blackthorn than just like stabbing him with a dagger or whatever and like killing him. Um, but also that could be fun with like Navani or somebody doing it. Um, I could see it. Um, yeah, be fun.
You were going to ask me another question? I interrupted.
I was and I forgot it. But like, I was thinking like maybe also something with the heralds, and that's how like they fully heal the heralds with soul stamping
I could see that too.
and like the fuse and stuff. Like, yeah, because there's all sorts of scriptures and stuff with the heralds that you could use. Maybe Kaladin learns soul stamping. Be kind of that's like the ultimate uh therapy, right? Just rewriting people's souls. Drink.
Um, maybe they could use that to imprint change. I mean, you mentioned, but like change the fused, right? So that they're no longer truly connected to odium anymore.
Ooh, I just kind of thought of something. Do you
Yeah.
think do you think a version of soul stamping is how they made the unmade? Because it's like changing their this like spiritual realm and then changing their appearance.
Yes, but in the same manner that like soul stamping and soul casting seem similar.
Yeah.
So not exactly, but like it's obviously odium, like the power that odium has, where he can just like
Rewrite them, yeah.
rewrite it, right? Um,
So I wonder if you could soul stamp them back into their original. That'd be kind of cool. We would need to know what their original form even is. Um,
right. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
I mean that's all I have unless you have something else.
No, I'm just gonna do a quick plug for a short stack series I'm gonna start whenever I have time to record something. Is I am currently rereading all of Throne of Glass. I've finished Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel. So I'm gonna be doing something on that, and then I'm like halfway through Throne of Glass itself. It's like my second or third reread. So look forward to that. It's gonna be shorter, probably 30, 40 minute little solo episodes. But yeah.
And with that, I'm also going to I'm almost done with my reread of Aragon, the first book in the Inheritance cycle, because I wanted to read Murtagh because that came out the other year, and it'd been over 10 years since I read the Inheritance cycle, so I wanted to remind myself. So I think I'm going to do a short stack episode on Aragon as well, have some thoughts on that. It's a fun book to read, easy book, easy read. Um, so I'll save more thoughts for that on a short stack. So hopefully these short stacks kind of, don't go into spoilers, but get anybody listening more interested in reading some other books and shedding some light on those if you're on the fence about reading any book.
Yeah, I'll probably have a little small spoiler section at the end or something to talk stuff I've seen now that I'm doing a reread and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I look forward to listening to them because I haven't read Sarah Maas.
He's fun.
Correction, I've read like 80 pages of ACOTAR. So.
Right. You're gonna do the Akatar short stack.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, Justin. Well, we shall see everybody back next week for our 100th episode. It'll be fun, and we'll look forward to having the giveaway. So,
Do you want to tease our next series so if they want to read ahead, they can?
oh yes. So we have. Are we doing the two of them or
I think that'll be fun.
straight through?
I think we alternate.
Okay, so um, we just decided. Hey,
Yay.
we just decided that we're going to alternate
But plans could change, but yes.
Between the Gentleman Bastard series and the Red Rising series. So we're going to start with Lies of Locke Lamora. That will be episode 101. And I think we're going to break it up into four books. So I don't have a breakdown. Hopefully by next week, and if I remember to mention it on episode 100, we'll have a breakdown of where to read to. But obviously, we're going to read to it. These aren't live, so you don't have to be where we are right when this episode drops. So you have the ability to go, oh, dropped, and you see the chapter numbers, and then catch up and then listen to it. So we're going to read Lies of Locke Lamora. Then once we finish that one, we're going to read Red Rising. And then we'll go back to book 2 of Gentleman Bastards, and then go book 2 of Red Rising, and so forth until we finish both of those.
Yes.
As far as Red Rising goes, I don't know if we're going to read past like the first trilogy.
Yeah, we'll have to see how we feel.
Yeah, we're definitely going to read the first 3 books because that is a trilogy, and then see how we feel after that if we want to continue to have a large series.
Yeah. And I think breaking up the authors will be good because I don't know if it colored my view of Wind and Truth. I still kind of stand by it, but I think I was feeling the Sanderson fatigue. So like getting different authors and their styles and stuff will definitely break up the monotony of the same style, even if it's good. So I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. Yep, I like that. So, yes, episode 100, and then we'll start with the first of 4 episodes of Lies of Locke Lamora. Unless it ends up being 3 episodes, but anyway, it'll be the first episode of Lies of Locke Lamora. So. Catch y'all later. Bye. Oh yeah. Don't forget, go visit our sponsor, Mudcat Whiskers, www.mudcatwhiskers.com. Use code paperweights at checkout and you'll save yourself 15%. And like, follow, subscribe, share, all that. And we will see y'all back next week.